curly hair should be washed as little as possible. False. More products equal better curls. Wrong. Your curls should look the same every day. Nope. Let's break down these myths and what actually works. We know the curly hair community is full of advice, but not all of it is good. Some of these myths can cause frustration, waste of money, and even hair damage. So today I'm busting the most common curly hair lies and giving you realistic science-backed solutions that work. So let's start with the first one. The myth is that you should wash your hair as little as you possibly can. You see this a lot in the curly hair community, especially in the curly girl method community. And it's this idea that the less often you wash your hair, the healthier it will be, the less oil your scalp will produce, and your hair will not dry out as much, because the fear is that shampoo and washing often dries out your hair, even if you're using gentle shampoos. But the truth is that a healthy scalp is how you grow healthy hair, and you do not have a healthy scalp if you're not washing your hair often enough. Once a week may be okay for some people. You definitely don't want to stretch it for more than that, but some people do need to wash more often than that. Some people need to wash every day, not necessarily with a foaming shampoo, but every day, every other day, every 3 days. It varies. And the reason is that you have buildup from products, dirt, oils, and all of this can suffocate your scalp and weigh down your hair. So the dirtier your hair gets if you work outdoors or in an environment where your hair is getting some kind of dirt on it on a regular basis, or if you are in the water and you need to wash off like chlorine or salt, then you're gonna have to wash your hair more often. If you have scalp problems, you're gonna have to wash your hair more often and use probably stronger shampoos as well. And if you tend to have hair that gets weighed down easily, you're gonna have to wash more often. So here's what you can do. Instead, you should use a gentle shampoo, so as gentle as possible. Low poo shampoos and curly lines are usually pretty good. They could be a little too gentle for some people. So like for me, I need something stronger than that. The curly shampoos usually never work. I stick with regular shampoos. But if you're using these gentle shampoos, then you wanna make sure you're clarifying regularly. That could be once a week, twice a month, to once a month. Depends on how your hair responds to that. So a clarifying shampoo is a stronger shampoo that usually has a sulfate, olefin sulfonate, or a mix of surfactants in it that really cleanse your hair. It should feel pretty much squeaky clean after you use a clarifying shampoo. As I said before, you want to listen to your hair and wash whenever your hair feels dirty, or if your scalp is getting a little angry at you, then that's a sign that it's time for you to wash. There's no need to stick to any strict schedule like wash once a week or wash every 2 days. Just wash whenever your hair is dirty, whenever you feel like you need it. You can try co-washing if that works well for you. For most people, co-washing is not sufficient to use only. You can use co-washing if you're somebody who washes often for reasons like you're swimming or you're getting stuff on your hair that you need to cleanse, but you don't necessarily need like a really strong shampoo all the time. So you can alternate co-wash once or twice in a row and then use a regular shampoo and then clarify once a month. You can try co-washing if your hair is really, really dry and it responds well to that. But again, you want to make sure that you're at least doing a clarifying foaming shampoo at least once a month. The second myth is that more products leads to better curls. And this could also be like more steps, and just doing more leads to better curls. You see it a lot in the videos and routines where people are layering multiple products, creams, serums, gels, mousses, foams, sprays. I mean, it's just product after product after product. And while this can give you really amazing definition and really moisturize your hair, it is overloading your hair and it can cause buildup and other problems. For some hair types, this does not lead to better results because it weighs down your hair so much. This overload of products can lead to greasy roots, flat looking, stretched out hair, dull hair that has buildup on it, and just generally weighed down curls. Like I said, some curl types can totally handle a lot of products and even require a lot of products, but there's not a blanket rule that says that all curls need all this stuff. It's going to vary depending on your hair type. And in my experience, I have found that most people do better with less. So here's what you should do instead. Keep it as simple as you can. For most people, a leave-in, like a leave-in conditioner or a curl cream, and 1 or 2 styling products like a mousse, a foam, a gel are all that you need. You want to really focus on hydration and technique and not just the products. So remember that how you apply your products is going to have a very large effect on the results of your hair. It's not just about the product you're putting on your hair, but make sure that you are applying it in ways that really enhance your definition and lead to longevity. And again, less is more. You can start off with less and you can always add more, but if you put too much on your hair, you really can't remove that and you're gonna have to wash and start over. So I always say if you think you need a little bit more product, add some water first. If it still feels like it needs product, then you can go in and add a little bit more. But usually adding a little bit more water gets it to dilute and spread more evenly, and that's all that you need. The third myth is that your curls should look the same every day. And there's this idea that if your curls look different from day to day, or especially after refreshing, then you're doing something wrong. But the truth is that curls are affected by so many things: weather, sleep, things you do throughout the day like putting your hair up, natural oil production. There's a lot that can affect your hair. So they should definitely change. Your hair should not look the same every day. You're never gonna style your hair and get the same results twice. And as you go through your day and sleep and wake up and go through all the things that you do, your hair is going to look different from day to day. That is normal. Some hair types do happen to look better over time, where they'll wash their hair on Monday and by Wednesday their hair actually looks even better than it did on wash day, but that's not the case for most people. For most people, you're gonna wash your hair, have your best hair day, either wash day or the next day, and it's just gonna go down from there until you wash your hair again. That's normal, and that's what you should expect. So what you can do is accept that you are going to have some frizz and that your hair is not always going to look the same, and that it is okay. It is just a normal part of having textured hair. If you struggle a little bit with this idea, don't focus on perfection and just learn some really easy refreshing techniques, like just diluting a little bit of product and scrunching it into your hair, doing a little bit of finger coiling, but not necessarily doing like a full wet refresh that takes a long time. And again here, less is more. When you're refreshing, you want to apply as little product as you possibly can and touch your hair as little as you can to make it look a little bit better than it did before, but we're really not resetting to wash day. Some things you can do to extend the longevity of your style are things like sleep protection, pineapple in your hair, using silk pillowcases, or some sort of a cover-up like a hair buff or a cap while you're sleeping. Also using a cap in the shower to prevent the humidity from fizzing it up, and putting your hair up during other activities where it could get a little bit messed up. Remember that perfection is not the goal, we just want healthy curls that we can manage more easily. The fourth myth is that gel is bad for you or that it makes your hair crunchy and dry. And this is one that I definitely believed. For a long time, I avoided gel because I thought it just made my hair crispy. But the truth is that gel is what locks in the moisture in your routine and holds your curl pattern and keeps your frizz in check over time until you wash your hair the next day. There is no product that has a stronger hold than gel does, and it's truly the best styling product for reducing frizz, holding your curl pattern, and maintaining that moisture. The problem is that you have to find one that works well for your hair type. There's so many gels out there with different formulations. Some are a lot more moisturizing than others. Some can be drying. So you do have to learn a little bit about formulation and your own hair to find one that works well for you. My recommendation is to use a lightweight gel because this is easiest for most people. Lightweight gels are gels that are typically clear and runny. So they've got like a thinner consistency, they're really easy to use, and they tend to not make the hair as stiff. If you really struggle with that crunchiness and the dry feeling, then you can always layer something moisturizing underneath like a leave-in conditioner or a curl cream. That really helps reduce the crunchiness and the drying effect of gels. Don't forget to scrunch out the crunch if your hair does dry crunchy. That is a feature of gel. It's actually a good thing because it's locking in your curl pattern while it is drying. Once it's fully dry, you want to scrunch it out, release it, it will soften up, and you can always use a little bit of oil or serum while you do this to lock in that moisture and really soften the hair. I don't want you to be afraid of gels because many curly girls do so much better when they introduce a gel into their routine. The fifth myth is that you must follow the curly girl method if you have wavy or curly hair. And this involves totally avoiding silicones, sulfates, and heat styling. But the truth is that the curly girl method is just one way of caring for curly hair. It is not the only way, and it doesn't work for all curl types. Curly hair comes in such a variety. There's dry curls, healthy curls, curls that need more products than others, and so one method of caring for your hair is really not going to apply for something that has such a wide variety of needs. Different things are going to work for different people, so you have to figure out what works for you. So what you can do is experiment to see what works for your hair, and don't force something to work if you see that it isn't. It is okay to start off with the curly girl method and then tweak it from there and make it work for you. That's what I did. That's what a lot of people do. Typically, the curly girl method is the introduction to the curly hair care world, and you become more attuned to your curls and its needs. And over time, you can decide what works and what doesn't and figure out the best things to do for your hair. Now, some curls really thrive with things like silicones and sulfates, so that's not something that you necessarily have to avoid. Sulfates are really good for removing buildup on their hair. They're safe to use, and as long as you're not overusing them, they're not going to damage your hair. The same goes for silicones, and silicones are actually excellent for damaged hair because they do protect from the sun, from heat protection. They prevent tangles, they prevent frizzing. They're really, really good for managing curls that are difficult to deal with, like difficult to tame curls, curls that frizz and tangle a lot. There's so many benefits to using silicones. You just want to be careful that you're not overusing them and that you are removing them over time with a clarifying shampoo because silicones do build up on the hair, and for some hair types it's more problematic than others. Oh, and sulfates help keep your scalp healthy as well. I forgot that point. Now, heat styling occasionally is not going to totally ruin your curls. Diffusing is not technically heat styling. Diffusing your hair does not cause heat damage in the same way that you would think, like using a flattening iron, a curling iron, or even actually blow drying your hair straight with like a regular hair dryer and a brush, because that's applying direct heat onto your hair. But a diffuser doesn't do that because it diffuses the heat. And as long as you're using like a medium or low heat, you are totally fine. If you're really concerned about heat damage, and just apply a heat protectant and diffuse. You don't have to diffuse fully dry, you can just diffuse for a couple of minutes, but you're not going to damage your hair by diffusing, so don't worry about that. I really do think that curly hair should be realistic, flexible, and stress-free, not full of strict rules and unrealistic expectations. So tell me, what's the biggest curly hair myth that you've fallen for in the comments? I'd love to hear from you. And while these 5 myths are really popular, there's a couple other ones in there, and so you may want to watch this video next. It's called 10 Things I Quit for My Best Curls Ever, and I talk about the 10 things that I stopped doing that are very highly recommended in the curly girl world so that I could finally have my best curls ever.